folks, and welcome to their Saturday morning Samoflange. Sounds like I had a pain there at the beginning there, but anyway, here I am, part 2, best and worst holidays. Here we go. I was thinking about, even though we stopped at 4th of July, and I was moving on through the months. Obviously, the next one's Labor Day. Before I get to Labor Day, in August, I always went on vacation. Well, we still go on vacation. It used to be for 1 week. 2 weeks when we were kids, 1 week when we got older, and now it's 2 weeks once again. We spend 2 weeks at the beach. It's so much fun in Gulf Shores, Alabama. Beautiful, beautiful place. Dad has a beach house there, and we just stay there, and it's so much fun. Last year we did 2 weeks for the first time ever, and we loved it, and we'll never do anything different. It is one of, if not my favorite time of the year. I just love it. Sitting back, relaxing. I'm playing board games. I'm reading tons of books. Just having a lot of fun. I don't even have to be at the beach. I'm really not that much of a beach guy. I mean, I like the sound of it. And if there's no sun, I would love to sit by the waves if I could. I don't have time because I have kids. Mainly, the missus goes out hanging out at the beach. Why babysit the kids? But this year, the 2 oldest girls will be old enough to go, so they'll have more memories, probably love it. The babies will go, but they probably won't love it. And it'll be so friggin' hot, I'll end up taking care of them for the whole 2 weeks. But what else is new? Anyway, though, I do enjoy vacation a lot. It used to be 2 weeks as a kid because we used to go down and spend a week with one of my grandparents in Mobile, and then we'd see my mom's side of the family in Pensacola, Florida, which was a pretty fun trip. For people who do not know, my grandmother passed away last year, 2 days before her 94th birthday. She lived a big, long life, passed away in her sleep. Actually, she was doing fine, just decided to take a nap before dinner and didn't wake up. I mean, what a way to go, right? Funny thing was, I was bringing my U-Haul truck in there to surprise her on the 94th birthday. Now, what was I doing with the U-Haul truck? Well, my dad and my aunts had asked me if I wanted any furniture from my grandmother's house. I just bought my house that I'm in right now. It was really big. I was laughing with Dad that we don't have any furniture. There's several. The kitchen was there's a kitchen table a place for a kitchen nook that had no furniture. Our enclosed patio had no furniture. There's one total room here that had no furniture. I mean, and I was just laughing about how empty it looked. And then my dad suggested I grab any and all furniture I wanted from my grandmother's house. My aunts second and third that notion and kept begging me to come by. Well, I didn't know when I was going to, but I decided my grandmother's birthday was coming up, and why not just surprise her? Now, we tried to take all the kids, but it just wasn't working that way. Megan could not get off. And I said, well, you know what? It'd be easier if I just went too, because all those little kids would be a little too much for my grandmother at the time. And I said, I'll just go and surprise her for her 94th birthday. So got the U-Haul ready to go. I did not call and tell her. I called and told my aunt I was going to be there because my grandmother got the days mixed up. And if I told her I was coming, she'd think, where am I? I'm not here today. Am I coming tomorrow? Because she don't know what day it is. But I just knew for her 94th birthday, it was going to be fun to spend that with her. And I've always been close with my dad. It was my dad's mom and dad's mom and family. I've always been close to his mom and dad. And, of course, my other grandmother, too, but more so this grandmother. Used to go down to Mobile, Alabama all the time. Bruce from Princeton University used to live down there. And actually 4 of my top 5 best friends at one time lived around the Mobile, Baton Rouge area. And so that was just a place for me to go all the time, was just kind of hang out down there. In fact, 2 or 3 of my best friends lived in Mobile at the same time. So I was always traveling down there for one time. So I'd stay with my grandparents. I'd call them once a month. And by the way, if you have grandparents still, call them. Call them. Call them once a month. Talk about anything you want. They're interested in anything you want to talk about. But definitely call them. It means a lot to them. I remember I called one time. That was back when long distance was 10 cents a minute. But I was determined that I was going to pay for, I don't know, $5 worth of phone calls to my grandparents that night. Just on a whim. And right as she was hanging up the phone, I said goodbye. She said goodbye. And when she hung up the phone, she went, wasn't that the sweetest thing? And then hung up. But I caught that. She didn't mean for me to catch that, but I did. And I thought, hey, that means, to me, I was just bored and wanted to talk to someone that night. But to her, that was a big deal, her grandson calling. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna make a point to call every month. And I did when my grandfather was still alive. When he passed away, I was calling a little bit, but my grandmother got really sour and wanted to complain all the time on the phone. And so sadly, it went to every other month to once every 6 months. Still, it was probably, I called her about 3 times a year, is where I was getting to. I'd call on her birthday, around the holidays, and I'd also call her around the first of the year too. So I can't remember what time, what exact months. I know 4th of July. Well, no, her birthday May. Did I call 4th of July? I can't remember. And around Christmas, maybe that was it. Either way, though, call your grandparents. They want to hear from you. Anyway, so I got the U-Haul. Well, that evening, that was a Sunday. We got news that she had passed away, and it was we were kind of shocked because she wasn't sick or anything like that. She's passed away in her sleep. So I canceled the U-Haul. My dad said that we were doing the wake at her house. Well, I wasn't going to load up stuff, while all my cousins were there going, "Hey, I'm sorry, can you get off this couch? Yeah, I need to. She's dead. I need to back up the U-Haul." So I didn't want to do that. So I canceled the U-Haul. So the day of her funeral, my whole family comes. My wife still couldn't, but my whole family comes down, and we're going to go to the funeral. My dad goes, "Hey, where's the U-Haul?" And I went, "What do you mean?" He went, "Well, you're still taking this stuff, aren't you?" I went, "No, Dad. Get out of here." I said, "I'm not going to do that. Y'all are having a wake here. I'm not going to be moving." And he just got all on me. He's like, "Goodness gracious, you need to get this stuff out. We want this stuff out of our house." And so I said, "No, I think that's rude. That's inconsiderate." He went, "It's not inconsiderate." He said, "Call your aunts." So I did, and both of them were panicking like, "Matt, what did you do? You canceled the U-Haul?" "No." And I was like, "Well, I don't want to look like a jerk, driving up in a U-Haul to my grandmother's funeral." And by the way, now I'm thinking about who drove my car on the way back down. Someone, I guess, I gave the keys of my car to drive because I'd driven my own car. I didn't even drive the U-Haul. So I gave the keys, I guess, to someone else to drive back up my car. I can't remember who now. Went out and got a U-Haul, and because I had to drive the U-Haul back. And man, they don't the day per diem is not how they get you. They get you per miles. They charge you almost 80 something cents a mile, and that thing costs hundreds of dollars, like $450. My mom my mom gave me $200 thinking that was covering it all because she wanted to pay for it. My mom and dad said they paid for the U-Haul, and so they gave me $200 because that's, I guess, how much a U-Haul they thought would cost. And it cost more than double that amount. Actually, not counting gas, so I had $500 on that. So U-Hauls ain't cheap if you're going long distance. In town, I'm sure they would be. But anyway, my sister's going, "I can't believe how you cancel that U-Haul. It's not embarrassing to pick up the furniture. You're going to do that anyway, and everyone knows that." I said, "Yeah, but it looks awkward when you're doing it at your grandmother's wake because I can't stay there till late that night. I've got to hit the road because I got to get to work in the next morning because I had taken off, but I had to be at work the next morning. I didn't want to get in super late, like 2 in the morning." And so my sister's like, "We'll help." My brother's like, "We'll help you. We'll help you." And then when the wake came, no one wanted to help because it felt awkward to ask people to move from the sofa while I moved it. And so I basically moved most of the stuff by myself. My aunt and uncle did help a little bit, and they packed more stuff in there than what I wanted. My sister-in-law, who did not pay for the U-Haul, loaded stuff that she wanted in my U-Haul. Like when I was unpacking stuff, like, "What is this? What is this crap?" And that was her stuff. She decided she'd use my U-Haul. That'd be $100, please. But anyway, and then the other stuff that was put in there, I was like, "What is this doing here?" My aunt put it in there. She's like, "Just please take it all." She wanted me to take it all. She was pretty funny. Which now the only thing left, the house is empty now, which is kind of sad. My aunt does not want to sell it. She doesn't know what to do right now because it's the last piece of her grandmother. I get it. That week was the last time the whole family celebrated there, which is kind of sad because growing up, I mean, I have a ton of good memories in that house, a ton of good memories around the holidays, around the summers, watching baseball and everything with my grandfather and everything. There's just tons of great memories there. And to know that that's it, the family's gone. There will be no one else there. That is sad. And that it's super empty. It's stripped down. I mean, I guess this next summer I'll go pick it up. There's a lampstand there for me and something else. I can't remember. My aunt said I could come by anytime and pick up, or I could pick up anything and drag it from the house. So I may do another once over, but we got basically all we needed. I know my wife wants to grab a few other stuff. I will grab any shell pictures that were left from my grandmother. For some reason, my cousins didn't want the shell pictures she used to make, so we grabbed a few of those. Everyone wanted the old wooden toys that were handcrafted by my grandfather. My grandmother held on to those after he passed away. She wouldn't give them out to anyone. And now that she was dead, everyone wanted grandfather's toys. Thankfully, I was able to preserve one wooden airplane for my son. If I don't know if he'll ever play with it. Maybe I don't want him to play with it, but I wanted him to have something of my grandfather's. And that's really all I wanted. But anyway, we got a few things, and oh boy, do they just keep piling on there. But my wife, I know when she goes, she'll want more. If we have room, I doubt we'll have that much room in the car. But at the same time, it is sad that the house is kind of empty. And when my grandmother passed away, that no one will be able to call me their grandson. I'm no one's grandson anymore. No one living on this planet at least. So that's kind of sad when that happens. And I have nothing to. I mean, I don't really need to complain because both of my parents, thank goodness, they're older. They're in their 70s now, and they're both doing well, thank goodness. But some people don't have their families anymore, their mom, dad, and everything. And as we get older, that's going to be the reality. I mean, the reality is possibly not be grim, but in the next 10 years, the chances of both my mom and dad being around will not be the case. So you got to make the most of it. You got to think about that because you always regret it after they're dead. You're like, oh man, I should have spent more time. Well, no, don't live regret. Don't live regretfully. Don't live regretfully. Make the time with what you have. With the family you have, make the time. Just make the time. You won't have all the time in the world, and you're not expected to spend all the time in the world. We always kick ourselves, like my grandmother passed away. Oh man, I didn't visit her once this past year. I was visiting her once a year at that point. Oh, I should have gone twice a year. The thought did cross my mind all the times I could have come down and didn't. But then I said, no, I can't think like that. You can't think like that. So you don't make your regrets, but you do keep in touch with everyone. That's just something I was thinking about. Well, this kind of rambled on. Anyway, for vacation though, worst vacation, best vacation, I don't know, man. I don't know. As a kid in high school, when we went with my cousins, we had a rip-roaring time. There were really good, cherished memories in Pensacola during my summer vacation that I'd have, and I still laugh at those stories today. I was just telling my little nephew some of those stories. Some of them I'll never be able to tell them. um, but some really great stories from the beach. Probably worst time was the second year Megan and I were married, or maybe the first, I can't remember. I got dog sick. And I usually get sick around vacation time for some reason. But man, I was dog sick. And Megan was so mad at me because I wouldn't do anything with her. But I was so dog sick. And she just kept getting more pissed off that I was sick. I don't know why. But anyway, it wasn't fun for me to be sick when the sun's shining and everyone's having fun. And when I'm sick, I want to stay away from people. I don't want to give people my germs. I don't want the sickness to spread. So I really try to ostracize myself. Yeah, I really do, because I'm like, no, I don't want to give these germs to anyone. I constantly am washing my hands if I go outside my room because I don't want to spread germs. Because I don't want, when other people are sick, I don't want to get sick. So I kind of want to respect them too. Now, yeah, of course, it's family. Most people don't care. But boy, at one time I was sick, man. There may be video. Was I doing video back then? No. This is before I did those videos. I did some videos where I was sick on YouTube when I was on vacation, but that was years later. I remember this one because my grandmother was still alive. We were spending the weekend on the way back with my grandmother, and I was still dog sick. And my wife was so pissed I was sick. And I don't know why, but she was pissed at me for being sick. Either way, that's vacation. All right, so skipping on, let's go to Labor Day. Labor Day, another one of my favorite holidays. Whoa, did you know that? Well, it used to be. Now, if I play I don't really get to play board games that much on it. That's why Memorial Day is a much better weekend for me. But Labor Day, we usually do what the missus wants to do, and that's nothing but sit around and do nothing, but maybe watch a movie. So it's kind of boring. But it used to be a great holiday for me. What would be my worst? Would that be my worst? Would just sitting around doing nothing and watching one stinking movie and feeling like I wasted the day? Yeah, probably. But my best had to be, I used to do a Memorial Day and Labor Day cookout. And we had tons of fun. And one Labor Day, I made the rule that there shall be no hot dogs or hamburgers burned on the grill. Now, I remember my roommate, Steven, who guest stars on Princeton University every once in a while, he was here for he was my roommate for this because we had one big Memorial Day and one big Labor Day party because because I was retiring those parties. I didn't want to do them anymore, but he not forced me. He just asked, he said, hey, can we please do them? I was like, sure. And so, but I wanted to do something different because we would always just grill hamburgers and hot dogs, and just sit around and hang, talk, watch a football game because football's starting. But I wanted to do something different. So I said, hey, do not bring hamburgers or hot dogs. They're not allowed. Bring anything else, and we're going to grill it. And boy, we did pork chops, shish kebabs, steaks. Someone brought shark. I think Steven worked at a restaurant at the time. He brought shark home with him. So we grilled shark on there. We grilled boudin on there. I'm trying to think of what else we grilled on there. We grilled all sorts of awesome, like the kebabs were really good. The pork chops were better than I thought they'd come out. I can't remember. The boudin was excellent. I was so excited when it was boudin. The shark was all right. It was basically tasteless for me. I want to say there's something else we grilled too, like a turkey leg or something. I can't remember. But man, we grilled it. And that was so much fun. It was so much fun. And we all bought 2-liter bottles of Cokes because back then they were 99 cents and or less. And we thought that, wow, that's cheaper than getting the small bottle. Why not just get a big bottle, put them all in the fridge, and then just run around drinking out of a 2-liter all day? Yes, I drank a 2-liter bottle of Coke. I can't imagine all the calories that were in there. But back in the day, baby, we were burning them calories. Yeah, that was a great memory. Probably the best I've ever had. My last grilling experience was not good. I used to make my own patty. I mean, season everything, put it on the grill. I used to be a grill master in a way. Nothing special, but I wanted to season my own meat. Well, I remember this was a Labor Day. I remember everyone was telling me how they how to cook the hamburger, and I was like, "Look, guys, if you want to cook the hamburger, y'all cook the hamburgers. I'm done." I went back in and watched TV. Eventually, everyone was inside. No one was watching the hamburgers, and they all burned. Oh, I was pissed. I was pissed. I bought all that meat too, and I was so pissed. They burned because that was it. We were short hamburgers, so I had to go get some pre-made patties and cook them, and I was pissed. I was pissed at those guys who kept bossing me around, telling me how to grill the stupid burger. Didn't even sit around to watch it. I haven't grilled since. Oh no, I grilled. I tried to grill on vacation one time because I used to grill a lot. I suck at it now. It's weird. It's like, what happened? I tried it. Well, I tried something where you mix the meat with cheese. I saw it on the Food Network. Went, that's really cool. But I didn't pack it tight enough because if you don't pack it tight, the whole burger will break up. And that's what happened. And I ended up buying pizza for everyone because all the burger fell apart in the grill and fell through the grill. Or it was chunks of meaty, burnt cheese. It was just nasty. I was so pissed at myself because I packed it like an amateur. I'm just not used to cooking anymore. My wife got my brother-in-law's grill, which I demanded that he not leave at the house, but my wife wanted it, so she got it. It's going to sit there and rust for the rest of its life. I'm never going to grill on it. I'm never going to grill. I'm never going to grill. But now I have a grill that I have to somehow get rid of one day, or it's just going to sit there and rust in my backyard. So dumb. My brother-in-law just dumped tons of garbage into my house because he asked my wife if she wanted it. Of course, she said yes. So we have tons of junk, just junk in the garage. Can't stand it. Anyway, so that was Labor Day for me. Oh, one Labor Day we cooked a ham for an entire day. I thought this was a terrible idea because I said, is it really going to be worth it? We smoked it all day. Oh my gosh, that evening when I pulled out the bone and the meat just fell off the bone, I went, oh my gosh. And it was the best thing we had ever cooked. But I remember I was pissed because we bought this big ham and we were just slow cooked. We woke up early. I mean, we must have slow cooked that thing for 10, 12 hours, but I was pissed because I thought, man, we should be cooking. We could be eating burgers and dogs right now, but until then, I can't remember what we did for lunch either. It was lame, like sandwiches or something. I was like, man, this sucks. But the ham at the end of the day, it was worth it. Again, don't celebrate Labor Day as big anymore. But back in the day, if you would have asked me, besides Christmas and Thanksgiving, Labor Day and Memorial Day would have been in my top 5 holidays easily, because those were always days I always had fun on. All right, moving on to the big ones, as everyone talks about. Halloween, which is my number one worst. I hate Halloween. I hate it. Didn't have as a kid. Parents didn't believe in Halloween. Growing up, they suffer it now because a bunch of a bunch of us, our kids do Halloween. My kids do Halloween because my wife wants them to do Halloween. I don't care. I hate it. Actually, it's just terrible. It's terrible getting into a costume that is tight or uncomfortable. For me, the whole time, it's tight or uncomfortable, and I have to wear it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. It's flimsy. It's cheap. It's garbage. We all have to match. My wife panics over for the next 2 months, starting in September. Panics every day about what we're going to wear. And has 50 different ideas. We have to go by Spirit, even though we're not going to buy anything at Spirit. Well, usually we buy one or two things, but they're overpriced. But we go by Spirit at least 5 times and walk in there for about an hour each because she's trying to figure out what matching costumes we can wear this year. It is horrendous. I despise the holiday. What's the worst one? The last one. Because the kids were tired by 8. Everyone was asleep, and my wife still wanted to go get candy. She felt like they didn't have enough candy. So she had to keep going. And we went to places based on a Facebook post. But the Facebook post, usually those people were tapped out by 8. Everyone had kind of shut down doing, candy early. We did go to my aunt's house. My aunt was doing full candy bars because she really loves Halloween, but no one visits her. But she lives in a dead-end street inside in the Garden District, and she has her lights on, but she does not decorate. She doesn't decorate for Halloween. She doesn't believe in decorating for Christmas even. She doesn't decorate her house for any holiday. So the only reason you know that she's up for Halloween is she has her light on. She likes the holidays, but she will never decorate for them. She says it's just too much trouble. But if you don't have any decorations out, who's going to go by your house? I mean, just have one little sign that says Happy Halloween on your door, and you may have trick-or-treaters, but she never gets trick-or-treaters. This year she was doing full candy bars, telling everyone she could, and she said she didn't. She only got us and one other family come by. That's because not many people know where she is. Like I said, dead end street, and where there's no one else celebrating Halloween, so it's a secret lair. But my wife went, got them full candy bars. They woke them up. They started crying too because they were tired. And the babies were with us. They were crying because they were tired, and I was just seething, hated it. There's been several terrible Halloweens, a billion terrible Halloweens. Only one good one. No, I take that back. There's been 3. When me and my wife threw Halloween party, we were when we were newlywed for the first 2 years, we threw a Halloween party, and I'll be honest, we decorated. We didn't decorate ourselves that much. Like we went in regular, like I wore a Jedi robe, and I was a Jedi, but the robe was loose fitting. I was comfy in it. Then we went as Dexter, and she was the Deb, his sister. So it's basically just. It's not really dress up, just kind of dress kind of like the characters and wear a badge that says Dexter Morgan. And what we did one year, we dressed up the kitchen as Dexter's Kill Zone. Like I put paper, the wax paper, whatever that paper's called, the sheets, the plastic sheet paper, all around, floors, bottom, ceiling, encased the kitchen. We got a mannequin, saran wrapped into our table, cut his cheek, like did a little paint cut on the cheek. And then that's where we served our food. So we mainly decorated the room. I love that because Dexter was hot at the time. The next year, she wanted to do Freddy. She loved Freddy from Nightmare on Elm Street. So we took black garbage bags and covered the entire den from top to bottom, walls, ceilings, everything. And then we'd cut through the garbage bags. We'd have red construction paper under there like blood, So it's black and red. And really, we got black lights, if I recall, for the fan, and really just decked it all out. She dressed as Freddy. I dressed as just a regular. I took a shirt I didn't like, cut it up, had little blood spots on me, and that was it. Again, very simple costume. Wasn't bothered by it. Was super happy. No, I didn't go as a victim. Someone else went as a victim. I went as the Jedi because that's when Disney had bought. That was the day Disney had bought. The day before Disney had bought Lucasfilm. So I went in my Jedi robes with Mickey Mouse ears. Again, very comfortable. Those were fun times. And after that, we just stopped doing. I can't remember why we stopped, but we just stopped doing the big Halloween party. But those were fun. The best one, I got to go to one other Halloween party that my first one I ever went to. I was way past my prime. Oh, I wasn't way past my prime. I guess it was maybe late 20s, mid to late 20s. And I don't know if Heather listens to the podcast still, but she invited me to. There's a street here in town called the K. It's called K Street, just the letter K. Used to be a long time ago. Every street in this district was named after a letter. Well, then, 100 years ago, they were allowed to give a name to their street. Well, the K Street people decided to keep the letter K. Well, because of that, still to this day, there's K Street parties. Only the people who live on K Street are invited to them. My uncle lives on K Street. He still gets a K Street Halloween party, and they host it for only K Street people. Now you can bring a plus one, and I got to be Heather's plus one. And oh man, it's in the biggest house on K Street. They host it. It's all the food, all the drinks. It's super fun. It was super fun. I went as an angel. She went as the sexy devil. Heather still goes as that probably today. But it was really fun. She invited me to come. I was her, I can't remember what we call part-time boyfriend. She was dating a friend of mine who lived in New Orleans. And when she was feeling down and he couldn't come see her that weekend, he'd call me up and say, "Hey, dude, can you take my girlfriend out?" And I was like, "Sure, man." And I said, "Where's she want to go?" "I think she wants to go to Applebee's or Olive Garden." I said, "All right." So I call Heather up and say, "Hey, Heather, we're going out." Yay! And so I'd take her out, from my buddy Jonathan. And she ended up marrying a good friend of mine named Kirk too, which I love just as much, if not more. Kirk's my boy. Love that man. I miss him. I've seen Heather several times. I haven't seen Kirk that much. But anyway, uh, that was probably the best time I'd ever had at Halloween. But usually Halloween, we hates it. We hates it as Gollum hates the Baggins, as they say in Lord of the Rings. Anyway, moving on. Oh, I can't believe I'm almost out of time. Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday overall. I think it's the best holiday because you don't have to buy presents. You just sit there. It's a big food. You get to be with family. It's kind of cool. And then after it's over, Christmas season begins. For me, at least, it begins. So Thanksgiving is awesome. I love Thanksgiving food. Thanksgiving dinner is the best. Best ever. I don't really have a bad Thanksgiving. There's not one. I did try to think of a bad Thanksgiving. In my mind, I don't think I've ever had one. I don't think one of the best ones, and this is kind of weird because there's a lot of good ones. There's a lot of good ones. But my friend Benjamin from Saturday Morning Samoflange, if he's listening, Benjamin, you won it. He knows exactly what I'm talking about. Benjamin used to be Mormon. I don't know if we've ever discussed that on the podcast, but Mormons can only play video games on Thanksgiving and Christmas. So on Thanksgiving at midnight, we did an all-night Xbox game, Halo LAN party. And I didn't leave till like 10 that morning or 8 that morning or something. We played all through the night. And then I went to bed. That was back when my mom was cooking. The meal wasn't going to be ready till 2. So I basically just slept until 1:30 or 2, woke up, went to my mom and dad's, had dinner. It was a great day. I still talk about that with Benjamin. That was just one of my favorite times. He won the year, even though I'll be honest, Thanksgiving to me is great. I did another one that's close second. I had 2 back-to-back Thanksgivings. We used to host Thanksgiving at noon for my wife's family, which I'd cook a ham. We only did it one year. I did a ham, a honey ham, which is great, and cream corn, all this great stuff. And then that night, my mom does Thanksgiving dinner around 6 or 7 now. She cooks all day, but it's ready at 6 or 7. So then we cleaned up, went over there, and had a second dinner of turkey and stuffing. And oh man, that was great. And I thought that was going to be a tradition, but her family doesn't really care about Thanksgiving, and they don't want to come over anymore. So we don't get to host them anymore. But I would, man, in a heartbeat, because you bring it on. I mean, you want to do a Thanksgiving? We all, by the way, we do breakfast at my mom's too for Thanksgiving. Waffles with all the fixings. It's great. I love Thanksgiving. Is better than Christmas. Better than Christmas to me. I have more fun at Thanksgiving than I have on Christmas. It is so much fun. And I wish I could, because when we did breakfast, lunch, and dinner, big parties, big celebrations, that's what I'm freaking talking about. Thanksgiving, I do not see that changing. I love me some Christmas just as much as the next guy. Tis the season. I'm mushy like that, but doesn't hold a candle to Thanksgiving. Does not hold a candle. Thanksgiving, the ultimate. Nothing ever bad happens on Thanksgiving. Knock on wood. All right, so the last one is Christmas. I am going to go a little over. That's fine. Best Christmas. Your best Christmas has to be when you're a kid, right? Because that's when you got presents. toys. You got more excited. I mean, this year, my wife and I, it was kind of funny. She doesn't buy me a birthday present, but she does buy me a Christmas present. And this year, we gave each other the exact same thing. We didn't even realize it. Under Armour shoes, running shoes, because we both needed new shoes. And we both got Under Armour because that's my favorite. And that's her favorite brand. And it was so funny. She got me some black ones. I got her some pink ones. We laughed because we didn't even tell the other person. I thought I was being all smart and coy with my choice of present. She did too. But it's not as special. When you're a kid, man, you remember some of those Christmas presents you got. Fireball Island. Oh, that was a big one for me. What was another one? Super Mario Brothers 3. I was just pumped when I opened up and found Super Mario Brothers. I had no idea. Mom and Dad would not buy Super Mario Brothers 2 for us. I had to save up my money all summer long, like working odd jobs, just to buy it myself. They refused to buy it. So I thought, dang, Super Mario Brothers 3 is out, and I need to wait till next summer till I can mow some more lawns and pay for it. And I was bummed. But when I got for Christmas, I was blown away. And I don't know, for one Christmas, back when it was just us, we didn't have grandkids or anything, my mom bought me the entire first run of Hasbro Star Wars toys. They spend hundreds of dollars on each of us back in the day. And whoa, they don't do that anymore, but whoa, what a gift. What a gift that was. And then that made me collect the Hasbro stuff until it got a little past maybe Shaz the Empire's when I stopped, or maybe one run after Shaz the Empire. It just got too expensive for me. But anyway, best Christmases by far. Another one, our Christmas tree, our family Christmas tree it's just nasty. It has all these, well, now it doesn't. Now it has the same string of lights, but it used to have all different strings of lights from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and today. And in the 2000s it did. And we put every ornament we've ever had in our entire lives on it. It's basically, it looks like a pile of ornaments, and somewhere there's a tree under there. And we just love it. It's a beautiful, ugly family Christmas tree. And my sister one year did not want the ugly tree up. She wanted a beautiful, white, boring tree. My mom granted her this. She was like 14 or something back then, or 15, 16, somewhere around there. And my grandparents were in town back then. So my grandmother I told you about. So she heard me and my brothers conspiring that we were going to go upstairs in the attic Christmas Eve night, late, middle of the night, get all those old ornaments down and put them on the tree for Christmas morning, right? Well, my grandmother heard what we were doing. She went, I want in. Wake me up. So we woke her up. She got up, snuck out up to the attic with us. She was giggling as we were putting them all in. Then we all went back to bed. And that next morning, we were all smiling at what we had done. Everyone was laughing. My sister came in and said, Merry Christmas, everyone. Then saw the tree and boo-hooed. And my grandmother started crying. She felt awful. She thought she was the worst thing in the world. My grandfather was not helping. He went, you did that too? Why would you do that, Lee? It was funny. In a way, it's another good memory of my grandmother. She was just because you never want to make your grandkids upset. But my grandmother's like, oh my goodness, I'm going to hell. She didn't say that, but she thought she was in purgatory for real. She was so tortured by that. That was super funny. A bad Christmas. Again, I'm sure there's such a thing. I don't think I've experienced it. So I can't say I've had a bad Christmas. Christmas is wonderful. I love Christmas season. No doubt about it. I revel in it. I have so much fun with it. But at the same time, Thanksgiving, still my tried and true number one holiday. Hey, folks, give me your top favorite or, what your best or worst moments from Labor Day, Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. And hopefully next time we'll be back with Benjamin on Saturday Morning Samoflange.